Today we're taking a look at the Meepo Mini 5. It's a lot like the Meepo V5 that I reviewed recently, but this model's been put through the wash at too high a temperature, and as a result it's shrunk down to a smaller size. In all seriousness though, the Mini 5 shares the same wheels, trucks, ESC and motors as the V5. Aside from the deck, it's basically the same thing. The big difference in this case is that we're testing the extended range model, which means we have a much larger battery pack than on the board that we tested last time.
Upon opening the box, I was surprised to find that the accessories have been updated too. The Mini 5 now comes with 100A bushings installed as standard, and 92A bushings are still included if you prefer. This is a huge upgrade for me. With my weight, the V5's 92A bushings were way too soft, and these feel excellent by comparison. Another change that has been made recently is that the extended range models of both the Mini 5 and the V5 now come with an upgraded remote. In the box you get Meepo's S5 remote, which comes in a bright orange colorway and features an OLED screen and a vibration motor. It's a big upgrade over the basic remote of the standard V5, and it means that you get a bit more for your money than just a larger battery pack. Honestly, I'm not that fussed about having a screen. It does make it easier to check your speed mode and see how fast you're going while riding, but that's not something that I do often. What I do find more useful is the vibration motor. This alerts you to low voltage warnings, and that's something that I really missed on the simplified remote of the V5. Another difference with the ER model is the charger. It doubles the output to 3 amps in order to charge the sizable battery pack in the same amount of time. In either case, it's just 3 hours from flat to full, which isn't too bad at all. It is a much larger brick, but it's still lightweight, and I was happy to find that out. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the components, as we've covered them in the V5 review. There's a link to that on the screen right now. Instead, let's take a closer look at the deck, as that's the largest difference between these two models. As the name suggests, it's a short board, and it's the shortest electric board that I've set foot on so far. The short wheelbase means that it's capable of very tight turns, but it's not the type of board you'd want to use at high speeds, as it gets quite unstable. At lower speeds though, it's comfortable and agile, and that makes it pretty great for urban commutes. The deck has a bowl-shaped concave that keeps you locked into place, and even though there's no nose, you can feel where it starts to slope upwards, so it's nice and easy to place your feet. The kicktail is short and mellow, but it is functional. It gives you just enough leverage to hop over bumps and cracks in the pavement, as well as allowing for kick turns in tight spots. It's pretty great. I could even just about manage some shove-its and hopping down curbs, neither of which I'd consider attempting on the V5. That said, I feel like Meepo could have gone a bit bigger with the kicktail. More leverage would help lift the front end a bit easier, and then you could do things like manuals with less difficulty. The biggest advantage to this deck is just how compact it is. It's very easy to chuck in the boot of your car, under the table at a bar, or in a locker, if you go somewhere that has lockers. The board is more prone to wheel bite than its longer sibling, but well-placed wheel wells do a good job of mitigating that risk. The stiffer bushings also mean that you're less likely to hang up unless you're carving hard at very low speeds. It's the same drivetrain as the V5, so it's capable of speeds in the region of 28 miles per hour. I'm not going to do that on this board. I think that's a bit too quick for something like this, but it's nice that the power is there if you need it. There's no need to test the hill climbability either. It'll be the same. That means it can climb some steep grades, but you can expect it to slow down significantly in the process. What will be quite different is the range. With the hefty battery pack on the ER model, I'm expecting that it'll travel almost double the distance on a charge. So without further ado, let's see how far it goes. For this test, I took roughly the same route that I used for the V5 range test. I did this so that the results are comparable, and we can see exactly how much extra range you can get for your money. The route starts off with a mellow few miles of flattish bike path, and that's followed by some significant hills that will stress the battery much more. For reference, the Meepo V5 standard version made it one loop of the route, followed by about a mile of pootling about near my house before the battery cut out.
That's lap 1. Still got 3 out of 4 bars. 5 miles in. Time for lap 2. Lap 2. Still 2 bars. 9.7 miles. Let's keep going.
In the end, the Meepo Mini 5 made it around the route twice, followed by a couple extra miles trying to kill the battery. And the most surprising thing is that it just didn't die. I rode this until it literally couldn't climb the smallest of hills, but the board never turned off, and it was still able to propel me on flat ground. So the final result was about 12 miles, but since it didn't turn off, I guess the range is potentially infinite, so long as you don't encounter any hills. Pretty impressive stuff. What I found a bit less impressive though was the constant squeaking of the rear wheels. This is something that I managed to fix by removing the urethane sleeves and applying wax to the housing, basically the same way that you'd fix a squeaky bushing. However, a few days later it started again, and after a 12-mile trek on the thing, it was starting to do my head in. Thankfully, I had a set of Meepo donut wheels for an upcoming video, so I fitted them after the ride, and they haven't squeaked at all so far. This board is clearly designed as a bit of a commuter, so I wanted to see how it fares in the big city. It's much more suited to that environment than the rural bike paths around my house. So I decided to take it to London for the day and see how it performs in an urban setting. I took the train into London and everything went very smoothly. This is a bit of a result, as when I was standing on the platform, an announcement played that said e-scooters are banned on East Midlands train services. No one batted an eye at the Mini 5 though. It was stashed easily under the seat in front of me, and that's not something you could do with my other boards. Riding around London was great, in part because of the pretty solid cycling infrastructure that they have over there. The Meepo has enough guts to keep up with cyclists, and the massive range meant that I never had anxiety about reaching my destination. I'm very glad I put the donuts on before I went, because the pavement was a bit of a mixed bag. There are plenty of charming cobblestone sections to contend with, and the big soft wheels did a great job of absorbing all these vibrations. What proved to be more of an issue was the weight of the board. With the ER battery and the added weight of the donut wheels, it's easily over 9 kilos. And that's a struggle to cart about all day, especially when there's no handle to help you out. It wasn't all bad though. The good luck of the Mini 5 did win me a free beer at Brewdog, so I suppose I can forgive it for the arm ache that it caused me. I hopped on the tube a few times, and that was no issue either, even if I did spot a few signs that said no electric skateboards. It's small enough that most people just assume it's a cruiser, and I never got a second look from the security.
Alright, so final thoughts. Here's the things I liked. The size, it's so compact and convenient to take around with you, and like you saw in the video, you can stash it under a train seat. The styling, again, Meepo have gone for quite a minimalist look on this. I think it looks great. The deck's a very nice shape too. Just think it looks pretty good. The range, it goes even further than I expected, and that just means it gets used a lot more because, you know, you go to pick it up and it's still got battery left from the last time you charged it. The new bushing setup is way better for a guy of my weight, and the fact that you get 2 sets of bushings in the box just makes it way more versatile and much more suited to a wide range of riders. The improved remote, it's a way better remote that comes with this board, and it does make it feel like you get a bit more for your money when you go for the extended range model over the standard. And I love the fact that it takes the exact same amount of time to charge as the standard model, even though you've got a way bigger battery pack. Yeah, the brick's a little larger, but it's still really light. And for the things I don't like, the big one is the squeaky wheels. I don't know why my wheels squeak so much. They did it a little bit on the V5, but it's been way worse on the Mini 5. And I've seen a lot of other reviews, no one else's wheels seem to be squeaking like mine. Maybe it's to do with the humidity. Don't know, just a bit odd. Doesn't affect the ride, again, ride's fine, but yeah, it's squeaking, weird. I think the tail could be a bit bigger. It works as it is, but a bigger tail would make kick turns and the like way easier to do. So yeah, Meepo, give us a bigger tail. And just the fact that it's a short board means it's pretty prone to speed wobbles. It's not the end of the world, but you don't want to be going 28 miles an hour on this. So should you get one? Well, as always, that depends on who you are and what you need. For me, I love this board. It's just so small and convenient. It means it gets used way more often than the longer boards that I have in my collection. I love having a kicktail too. It means when you come across rough ground or obstacles you need to pop over, you can just scooch up on the tail, and you can't do that with a longer board. If you're a beginner, I wouldn't advise picking this up as your first board, just because of the fact that it's got a lot of power, and like I said, it gets squirrely at high speed. So I could imagine beginners getting themselves into a bit of trouble. But if you've got a bit of experience under your belt, absolutely pick one up. It's great fun. And just as I said with the V5, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone offering as much board for the money. Currently, the Mini 5 goes for $429 and the extended range version goes for $599. It's a pretty cracking deal for a board of this quality. So yeah, that about wraps this one up. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you did, because we've got loads more cool stuff on the way. And I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles.